everybody.
Should you be worried about the potential health effects from radiation? We discussed that with the president of EMF Solutions Incorporated, Cory Hillis.
5G.
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 And it's called
5G. Wireless companies in the U.S. say they'll have to install about 300,000 new antennas for the rollout of 5G.
As technology advances, so is the amount of radiation, promising lightning-fast speeds and a more convenient lifestyle.
5G uses high-frequency waves that support faster speeds, but don't travel as far as current wireless frequencies.
Wave frequencies are increasing nationwide.
5G is an EMF, which is radiation. EMFs indirectly harm you because these EMFs these photons smash into particles. That radiation became a new form of energy, and that new form of energy we call subatomic chaos is the stuff that our bodies are reacting to. With more 5G comes a lot more radiation, which means more subatomic chaos and more health concerns.
But does our need for speed and competitive technology outweigh the potential health risks associated with EMF emissions?
The World Health Organization came out and said this wireless technology is possibly carcinogenic.
Tonight, a major development from California's Department of Public Health. Long-term high use of cell phones may be linked to certain types of cancer and other health effects, including brain cancer and tumors, lower sperm counts, headaches, and effects on learning, memory, hearing, behavior, and sleep.
With the electromagnetic field seeping into our homes everywhere, it's time to take a deeper look into what this could mean for the future health and well-being of generations to come.
Wow, I am so excited to get into this topic. This is something that is so pertinent right now in this day and age. So please help joining me welcome Cory Hillis, President of EMF Solutions from South Carolina.
Hey, man. Hey, good to have you. Nice to meet you guys.
Hey, how are you?
I'm awesome. So happy to be here.
So you weren't born in South Carolina, but you live in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah, and I chose to live there, so.
Okay, you know,
not an
I was
accident.
born in Greenville, South Carolina.
Yes.
Of course, I've been living here for over 30 years in Texas, and so I'm a transplanted Texan. Of course, you were born in California.
I'm from California. South Carolina is a great state. You know, I visited because of you for the first time, and I've loved it. I love the trees, I love nature, I love the mountains, so it's a beautiful state. I could see why you chose it.
Well, I left San Diego to go to Charleston, and San Diego's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you have all this different, that's so neat. I know that people are going to be really interested to hear about 5G. And again, Jonathan, because you're in that world, you understand, or did you even understand that, that 5G would affect you physically?
Not at all. In fact, when my wife Rebecca, who you'll hear from later today, told me about the effects of it, I was very skeptical and didn't quite believe in it and was thinking that she was, you know, off in a conspiracy la-la land place. But I have since become a believer, and from basically actually experiencing change when we implemented this in our own home.
Okay, and I know we have done the same thing, but let's go back, if we could, to the beginning.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, of your testimony, because you had some physical issues going on that you had to deal with, and you felt like the Lord kind of gave you some divine insight on that.
Yeah, so let me take a couple steps back. So I was really sick about 20 years ago almost. And I was so sick that I called the ambulance like 3 times to take me to the ER because I didn't think I could drive 4 miles. I was too scared. So I got better with a lot of hard work.
What was wrong with you? Like, what were the symptoms?
It's a long laundry list of Lyme and parasite problems and back problems, and my heart was racing when it shouldn't have been, and just nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. Excuse me, I'm a little dry. So I got better, and I became a holistic practitioner to try to give back to other people. And as a holistic practitioner, there was this growing invisible elephant in the room, and it was called EMFs. And I knew if I didn't address this from my own clients, that I was going to have a real hard time helping them out.
And what does EMF stand for people who don't know?
It's electromagnetic frequency, and it's really radiation is what it is.
And so this emits, this cell phone here emits EMFs.
Massive amounts of radiation.
Massive amounts,
yeah.
And especially if you have an iPhone. And what about computers? What about microwaves?
All
what
of
about
that.
refrigerators?
All of that stuff. So everything electric technically is a EMF. Okay, electricity is an EMF that's been around a long time, affecting people. But when we got into all the cell phones, cell towers, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, scatterpoles, satellites overhead spitting down on us. In the last 5 or 10 years, we have doused ourselves with microwaves and radio waves that have just exponentially made this problem insanely worse. So when I was a practitioner, I started trying to test products. I couldn't find any that worked well enough. And so I started testing everything to get my hands on, and I started studying, saying, I got to fix this myself. So in my studies, I realized I need to be a biochemist and a physicist to figure this stuff out, because this is like the physics of the EMF and the biochemistry of a person and how's it happening. So I ran across Dr. Martin Paul's research. In about 2013, he discovered what's happening on a cellular level, and others with him. And so, but they didn't know how the EMFs were doing this. So I decided I'm going to try to figure this out. It was a little too big for my pay grade. Like it was a tall order. So I decided to ask God. I said, I need help. I want to help my clients. I want my wife, who is a practitioner, to be able to help her clients. So I prayed and studied at the same time.
Because it's not going to go away.
No.
I mean, there are people that are saying that, oh, we don't want it in our neighborhood, or we don't want it in our city. But it's not going to go away. It is going to happen. So we've got to work within the boundaries of knowing it's here.
Exactly. I'm not trying to get rid of it. I'm actually for, I have a cell phone in my pocket, a Wi-Fi router I don't turn off at night. All the gadgets, I love them. I'm not against technology. I just knew that you got to remediate it. So in my studies, I kind of got a vision of how EMFs are hurting people. I got the EMF is causing subatomic chaos in the environment, which is causing this reaction that Dr. Martin Paul and those guys came up with. It's almost like the missing link. And so I just got to tell you, anything that EMF Solutions has done for your family and people I've talked to here that has testimonials from using our product so far, don't thank me. I swear I have to thank the Lord. Like, I believe that was given to me. And when I started testing that theory out, what I was shown in prayer, it kept working. And we did study after study after study on the products, and they work. And we just did one a couple of months ago that proved on a cellular level we're fixing what's happening on a cellular level. It's amazing. And I gotta give credit to the
So were
Lord.
you able to figure out a correlation between the illnesses that you were experiencing in San Diego during that time and EMFs, or were they two separate things?
Separate and not separate. Like, holistic practitioners consider, like, everything affects you, right? So it's not one thing, but the experts, and I always point to the scientists. So if anybody is new to this subject, go to bioinitiative.org/conclusions. So if anybody's got a pen, bioinitiative.org/conclusions. That particular website is a summary of almost 2,000 studies by scientists, environmental leaders from around the world, who don't have bias. They don't sell products. They're not funded by anybody with an agenda. So if you want the real information, you can read 5 minutes of these studies, and your jaw will drop if this is new for you. So they describe what the symptoms are.
Can you talk maybe a little bit more in simplistic terms? If we can show that graph again. I remember the first time I started hearing about this was years ago from a holistic doctor here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I remember he said it's very important that you do grounding every day, Joni, that you walk on grass, or if you're at the ocean, you walk along the beach, because of the chaos that's in our environment and the way that God created us, how you calm that. Because people definitely are being affected by this radiation that's in the air, and they don't even realize it. And so kind of talk about that graph, if you will, in simplistic terms.
Sure.
What are we seeing there, Cory?
So on the left is an EMF. And what the world, I don't believe, has figured out yet, pretty much any physicist you'll talk to on the whole planet is going to say this EMF at the microwave frequency, like your microwave oven, your cell phone, your router, and all this stuff, this cannot directly hurt you like the radiation from an X-ray or nuclear power. So if it can't directly hurt you, but all the studies, 10,000 studies show this stuff's hurting people, how the heck's it happening? Well, it's an indirect process. So the EMF, let's say there's a cell tower behind us, which there actually is, right?
Yes, there is.
So the cell tower's radiation comes into the building, and a little bit makes it here. Most of the radiation from the cell tower is absorbed into the building itself. The building is, absorbing so much, a little bit gets through, so you can use a cell phone on that radiation that made it through. It's the stuff that didn't make it here that got absorbed that causes the subatomic chaos in the walls and the chairs that we're sitting in and the bed that you sleep in. And that's the subatomic chaos, that next domino in that formula. That's the thing that our theory has shown is causing the cellular problems. And that's a long story. It's better in illustrations. But that's a picture of a cell. There's little doors on the membrane of your cell. One door is for calcium, one's for magnesium, one's for, you know, an amino acid or whatever. Well, the one that opens the calcium channel is getting manipulated by the subatomic chaos. So some cells are rapidly increasing 200 to 400% more calcium in the cell. That imbalance is causing depolarization problems, charges off in the cell, free radical damage, DNA damage. And this is all according to, like, look at Dr. Martin Pall's research and the others. They just explicitly go into this. So you have EMF is not directly hurting you, causes the shaking and vibrating in the stuff around you. That we're reacting to, and that's causing our cellular problems. So we're not addressing the EMF itself. We're addressing that second domino, that subatomic chaos, that shaking and vibrating. If you stop that, then the rest of the dominoes don't have to fall. And the reason you don't want to block that radiation, that first thing, is because if I blocked the radiation on my phone, it wouldn't ring. I couldn't make a call. If you block your router, you have no internet. So blocking is not realistic or necessary, because I agree with the physicists that this stuff actually can't directly hurt you.
So the personal testimony that we had was we were unplugging and plugging back in the router every night for 6 months or so until we found out of your company. And then we put a Harmonizer, correct, on the smart meter box at the back of our house, which actually our master bedroom, the wall is right against that smart meter box. And so I would wake up 5 or 6 times a night from like 10 p.m. to 6:45 a.m. and I wouldn't know why I was awake. When we put that Harmonizer, am I saying it correctly? Is it the Harmonizer on the
home Harmonizer?
Home Harmonizer on the smart meter box. Now when I go to sleep and I fall asleep, I don't wake up until my alarm goes off in the morning.
And that's not only the most common symptom of EMF issues out there, you can read the studies on bioinitiative.org, like I said, but it's the most common testimonial we get. We have hundreds, you can look at our website, there's probably 100 to 150
So that smart meter was causing that chaos in the room, is that correct? That was leading me to wake up?
And so well, how would you describe chaos when you hear that when we have all these devices and all this Wi-Fi and internet and TV and microwave and refrigerator and freezer and all of that, there is a chaos that we can't see that is happening with radiation. And so what your company does and what the Lord showed you is how to put these devices where this chaos is emanating from, and it brings a calm into your space to kind of protect you from these EMFs. Is that right? That's a kind of simple way of saying it.
That's definitely a good way to say it.
Okay. Some beautiful girl standing by.
Yeah, this is the beautiful girl that actually brought Cory and EMF Solutions to our family and to you all. So we are so grateful, Rebecca. What is your question?
Hey, I am so excited for so many reasons, and I wanted to share a little bit of my own personal testimony and why I just believe in what this company's doing, because there is a lot of information out there about EMFs and there's a lot of devices, but I love this remediation technology. And I know they were talking about there's a difference between blocking it and how that's actually not helpful and remediating. So I love that we're educating our viewers on this and giving them information, because we're at a point where we can't escape EMFs. They're pretty much everywhere. I've heard of people going out to the country and, trying to get away from 5G. But the truth is, can you speak to this, that you can't escape, EMFs at this point for the most part?
No, you can't. If you go live in the Rocky Mountains, trying to get away from it all and you're camping, we now have 80% of the earth that's being covered massively with 5G satellites that are spitting down from overhead. And when that actually happened about 2 years ago, coincidentally, around the same time the pandemic came around, the EMFs got worse on planet Earth. And I couldn't figure out why, except for massive amounts of satellites are going up. Now, I don't blame people, because the physicists are telling them this isn't harmful, because it can't harm you the way an X-ray does. So I don't blame people for not understanding this. But if you talk to the biologists who are doing all the cause and effect studies, we know darn well it's harming people. And now that Dr. Martin Pall's research and others came at and shows the cellular reactions, then it's cemented in. We actually know the root cause, so you can't escape it. If you didn't have a solution that you trust, which I totally trust ours, and I can explain all about that, but then yeah, I would say turn your cell phone off at night, turn your Wi-Fi router off at night, and get away from as much as you can. But think about it. You turn on your laptop in your house. How many Wi-Fis do you see? Like, there's so much radiation around right now. You have a smart meter on your house, and your neighbor has one, and the other neighbor has one. These are now, the meter guy doesn't come by, or the meter girl doesn't come by looking at your readings anymore, because there's Wi-Fi coming off of that sends out the message that has to go through the neighbor's house to their Wi-Fi, which is the smart meter, that reads that, collects their energy information, sends out to the next house. That's going through the neighborhood. There's so many things I can tell you that are just present besides your cell phone and your Wi-Fi. It's crazy.
You know, I saw a video that was done by a guy talking about this, and he said there was a teacher that had Wi-Fi that was in the middle of her classroom in the ceiling, and but at home she had no Wi-Fi. She had like a EMF free, if you could, home where she just didn't have a lot of that stuff in her home. And they took her blood, you know, over the weekend when she wasn't exposed to all that, and showed on a glass what it looked like, the little round, you know, perfectly the way our blood's supposed to look. And then after a week in her classroom with the Wi-Fi being in the ceiling, they took her blood, and the blood had coagulated and changed and actually had meshed together as a result of EMF. Is that really happening to people? Do people realize, I mean, are there studies to show that we are being affected that way and our blood's being affected?
Absolutely. I saw my own blood this happen to multiple times, but it didn't take a week. It took me 2 minutes on a cell phone. It took me 2 minutes standing 1 foot from a smart meter outside your house. In 2 minutes. Some of the people in the experiment got headaches in 2 minutes standing there. Some didn't, but we're all being affected. Like, if you don't have the symptoms, which the most common are sleep problems, being tired, immune system disorders, neurological problems, including concentration difficulties. They go into Alzheimer's, cancers, low melatonin production when you're sleeping. These are all like really, go to bioinitiative.org/conclusions, and you will see summaries of massive amounts of studies that show this stuff.
Well, let's get that website up, because I know some of you are saying, wait, I didn't write it down. Let's get that up and on the screen. But we did this at our house, and you guys did it at your house. I think Rachel and Josh did it, Jonathan and Susie. But then we thought, well, the biggest EMF place in the universe is right here at Daystar.
We're living it.
Excuse me. So we got Cherie, who works for you, right, to come out to Daystar, and let's see what she found out.
A key part of the success of any workforce is maintaining health and well-being. So we are here to check out Daystar to find out what trouble spots we might come across in an office or business environment. By neutralizing the effects of EMFs, employees will feel less fatigued, and a more harmonious, peaceful work environment raises everyone's wellness level. All right, we are here in this data room, and as you can see, there's a lot going on in here. So when we remediate Daystar, we are going to feel the impact significantly in this room because we will be eliminating subatomic chaos. In offices, most printers run off of Wi-Fi, and these can produce a lot of chaos. So we are going to put a device chip on this printer, and we're going to put it on the electrical cord, and that will calm the chaos down and remediate the printer. We are here in Daystar's electrical room. This is where all of the power comes into the building. And as you can see, this electrical box right here is the main source of electricity. We're gonna use these XL Harmonizer boxes, and by putting these on top of this box, then we are going to address the EMFs in this building. All right, we are here in an office, and we are looking at the things that we need to address besides what we have already taken care of, which is anything electrical. However, most people have wireless items in their office as well, like cell phones and laptops. So we need to address these by putting a chip directly on these devices. So we have laptop chips for laptops, cell chips for cell phones, and once these are on, people feel the amazing effects in their office. We just got done finishing remediation here at Daystar, and by eliminating the chaos from the EMFs, everybody is going to feel so much better. By creating this new environment that is harmonized, everybody's health is going to be impacted in a positive way.
Is that not amazing?
So grateful that
We
you guys
needed,
did that.
we needed this
that
at Daystar.
desperately.
We've done it at our house too, in that, what's it called? The Harmonizer that you put on your smart box?
The home
harmonizer.
The home harmonizer. And those are, what is the cost of that? And it does your whole house?
I believe it's $499.95.
$499. And
Right.
then I could tell an immediate difference. I don't know if you could tell or not, Jonathan, but
I couldn't tell immediate difference, but
I could even tell right
definitely
when
could
she
tell
did
when I
it
slept.
that there was more of a calm. I think I'm really sensitive
dialed in, yeah.
to that. But in the sleep part, I think is so important. We need our sleep. And like, I know this is the room harmonizer, and it can do up to like 1 to 3 rooms, and you just plug it in. Well, Cherie came to our house, and she went in the kitchen, because that's one of the rooms that has probably some of the most EMF. We stood in front of the microwave. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? And the oven and the refrigerator and the ice maker and the dishwasher, all of that. And she showed me with the meter what it was like. And it was just like way up there. Then she plugged this into the kitchen out one of the plugs, and we looked at the meter and it went down. So what it was doing, what this room harmonizer is doing, is like calming the chaos, right, in that room. And that can really make a difference for people. I mean, you've tried it, hadn't you?
I have a question about, so sometimes like at night we'll be in bed, right? And then I'll get inspired to, or I have an idea and I'll want to grab my laptop or my phone and write it down, and I'll be on my phone. So tell me, with your expertise, what is the time frame that people should cut off using technology before bed? Because even if it is remediated, there's still the light and the frequency stimulation. So what is that time frame?
Especially before you go to bed, we all look at our phones, and we probably
We totally do, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. What is my cutoff time?
I'm not an expert on like just the use of technology, social media, necessarily blue lights. I'm more the expert on the actual, what the EMFs are doing to you physiologically on,
So if
your
it's
body.
remediated, I'm good to go. I can use it.
I use it whenever I feel like.
Oh, great.
Like I don't.
That's wonderful news.
There's only a couple things I don't like. I don't like earbuds, I hate to say, because right now they're too small to remediate well.
And that's just going straight in, right?
Right.
Right. So I
don't need straight into your head.
Yeah.
I don't even, I use a speaker like when I talk to everyone on the cell phone. I
Smart.
barely put the phone up to my ear because I know it's not good for us, right?
Well, if it's remediated, it's almost perfect.
Okay.
No, we've showed, so the blood test that you were talking about, we've had people come in, they get their blood looked like, they prick your finger, they put it under a microscope, they look at it. And I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not gonna make any inferences to, what medical things are going on, but the cells look a certain way. These red blood cells, mostly under a microscope. In 2 minutes on a cell phone, you can see the blood start to stick together like you said. It visually looks very different. Then we put the cell chip on the same call, they continue. 2 minutes on the call, then it clears up. With our product on it, you're on the phone and your blood's clearing back, looking normal again.
Wow.
Then we take the chip back off and it goes back to looking a mess again.
Oh, man.
So it happens quick, but it seems like it remediates it quick too.
Yeah.
So that's the good news.
I just put the phone chip. I probably need to get a better case, but you put the phone chip in your phone. Like, here's the case here, and I'll show you what the phone.
EMF Solutions should build a case that remediates the phone itself.
Jonathan's giving you ideas here.
Well, there's so
That would
many
be
kinds
great.
of phones. So my ultimate goal, honestly, is to...
This is it right here, and you put it in your phone, and it helps remediate the EMF.
So that's kind of like
you've
mine taped on the back of mine.
Nice.
Oh, so you taped yours on
I
the
just
back.
taped it so it stays in the middle, and then I can put my case, on top. When it slides to the
I
edge,
just
it
need
doesn't
to do
like,
that. I just
clamp
need
on
to
too
tape
well.
that on there.
So we have young kids, and a lot of people have young kids. So I have a question about children. Are they any more sensitive than adults to these types of things, or is it just equal sensitivity?
Yeah, so you open a can of worms here. So kids have 2 to 2.5 times the effects, the negative effects, the biological effects from EMFs. Again, I refer you to the studies that are done on that. There's many studies, and the Bio Initiative confirms that, like lots of other organizations. But here's the really dangerous part. Here's the scariest thing, almost my biggest motivation to help people in this area. Reproductive abilities are massively being squashed by EMFs. And here's the dangerous part. So Dr. Barry Trower from Britain, he's an ex-Secret Service guy in Britain. He used to use, part of his job as a scientist was to use microwaves, which is what all this stuff is, as a weapon. He says that, okay, a woman's eggs, women are born with all their eggs, right? You have 400-some thousand eggs when you're born. Well, in the first trimester, what becomes those eggs, you have them in you. You're getting 10 times the DNA damage on those eggs. So when my wife was pregnant with our baby girl, which we have a 21-month-old now, when she was pregnant, that first trimester especially, my daughter's, what would become her eggs one day, so my grandkids, were getting 10 times the DNA damage. And Dr. Berry says, not only that, but it doesn't have the ability to repair the DNA damage like we do, because we're repairing 99.99% of the DNA damage, thank goodness, else we'd be in deep trouble. But if those eggs aren't, we're not going to see the detrimental effects of the bad EMFs in the last 5 or 10 years, according to him, until our grandkids are born. So I'm not going to see them for 20, 30 years from now. And that's what's scary. We already have, men have less than 50% of the sperm made since when I was a kid. In all modern societies like the United States. Reproductive issues are already now really bad. Is that reflective of what happened 20, 30 years ago? And if so, what's going to happen in the next 20 or 30?
That's a good point.
He's sounding the alarm, and I'm trying to do it too. So this is a really big issue. So especially if you're pregnant, don't have laptops, unremediated laptops sitting on your lap. Don't be on your cell phone as much. Like, take it very seriously during the whole pregnancy, especially that first
My
trimester.
wife took it so seriously. My laptop was not remediated until just a few months ago. And anytime I had it in the bed, she would literally say, "Get that laptop away from me." She wouldn't let me have it near
Well,
me.
you're holding the laptop.
Yeah, I have
so
two of these actually,
let's see what
just
that
like you
looks like.
taped onto the back of my laptop on the bottom of it. And so when there's two of them taped on there, it sits perfectly, and now it's fully remediated.
Yes.
That's great.
And I can say that because we had a study, an independent lab, took cells, human cells, put them in an incubator a couple of months ago in Dallas, down the road. I just met the doctor 2 nights ago and had dinner with her. It's awesome, Dr. Vita. So she put human cells in an incubator, measured the calcium levels in there. Then she put a router a foot away. She remeasured the calcium levels. Over 4,000 cells, if they're the certain L-type channel, calcium channels, they went 200% more calcium in a very short period of time. According to the scientists and the biochemists, that's a really bad thing for your health. I'm not the science guy.
We
I'm
just had
saying
Dr. Artis here
that
yesterday,
happened.
and he was talking about what calcium does, and it's really bad for us.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's another whole show you'll have to watch on Table Talk. But yeah, we were just talking about that yesterday.
So the amazing part for us, which is just blowing my mind, and I can't emphasize like how amazing and important this is, when she put our products to fix the router, to remediate that router, the calcium levels returned to normal. So the L-channel calcium levels rose when our products were there, went back and normalized it. Other cells in the body that have different types of channels had a reduction, 85% reduction in calcium in a very short time. When the products were applied, it went back up to normal.
Wow.
So that's amazing. Basically, the only science out there that I have found on a cellular level of how these EMFs are hurting us, our products have been shown now in independent studies that it fixes it.
Incredible. Well, I know Rebecca, one of the most passionate people about this subject, has another question. Honey, what's on your mind?
I know, I was only supposed to ask one. Then I was like, wait, I want to ask more. But I also wanted to talk about my own personal testimony with EMFs. So here at Daystar, I'm so happy we got it remediated, and I can actually tell the difference because I usually wear the band and the card every time I was coming here because we film in the studio and we film JTT, and it was actually on JTT days where we would film like 3 episodes in one day and we'd be in here for 4 hours or so. I would go home and I would feel completely exhausted and so drained. And I had no energy when I would go home. And having a little toddler, that's not a good combination. And so I remember thinking to myself, why do I feel this way? Like I'm in my 20s. And I noticed it was only on the days I would be here in Daystar for a prolonged period of time. And that's when I started learning about EMFs. And then we got the stuff set up at our home and we got our home remediated. It was like enough for me to actually, I guess, detox from what I was experiencing here. And then I got the band and the card and I would wear it here. And it was crazy because when I would wear the band and because my home was remediated, I wouldn't feel that way. I've never felt that way since. So I can really speak to the effectiveness of these products. And I actually can speak to the price because I've done research on so many different EMF products, and the pricing is actually with this company some of the best that I've seen. So it's really worth it, and it's an investment. And so I wanted to speak to that. But my question is, how long do these products last for people who are watching? Like, can you use them for the rest of your life? Do you need to replenish the chips? How does that work?
Oh, that's a good question, because I've had this band here, which is one of yours, for, I guess, 9 months.
Oh, you can throw it away now. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no.
No, so our secret sauce, our secret formula of how of what we do is we have 3 tests that we do to raw materials. You can find them in nature. And so we're not manipulating anything. We're just finding the right materials and putting them in the right way into products. One of those things is going to fade over time. It's not been studied very much because one of the things is secret, but it's we have a meter special made for. It doesn't have any other commercial applications until now. So, but the limited science suggests that it's going to be hundreds of years before that fades. So my guess is that's going to easily last our lifetime.
Oh, good.
So what is in here? I know you can't tell exactly every part of it, but
It's cool that it's raw material, so God gave us the elements
Lane,
to
if you
protect
can
us.
show that, this is a room harmonizer, and you can see the rocks in there. Can you see that? I guess they're rocks, right? And so how does this work? I mean, and how did the Lord even give you the idea to do this? And how did you even figure out and make it work? I think you already gave him all the
Were you
credit.
out there in the mountains picking up stones and gathering them and testing them?
No, I mean, I did a lot of research. So a lot of my research was on, first I had to figure out how the EMFs are hurting people, or how they're causing, I should say, biological effects. According to the scientists, I'm like, okay, how's this happening? Nobody figured it out. That's why I needed God's help.
And there's a lot of information on that.
Myself,
there's a lot of science talking about what's going on with 5G out there that people can research.
So I had to figure out the how. Once I figured out the how, then we can apply things like this. So the right products, when they're activated by magnets or electricity, create a field, and the field harmonizes things. And I'll use an analogy without telling our secrets. So if you have forces that are shaking and vibrating in different directions, call that chaos. And you put a strong magnet down, then the magnet would want to align those forces up, right? We call it harmonize it. So a magnet, technically, if you can't afford products and you can't find us or whatever it is, you could wear a magnet in your back pocket. That will partially help remediate EMFs. You know those magnet bracelets people wear, and I don't know why it works, but it works. I know why it works. It's partially remediating that chaos of the EMFs.
I always thought it was some weird superstitious thing, but now it makes
Or they
sense.
wear those stones around their neck. But there, when you begin to develop these products and then you begin to hear some of the testimonials, what were some of those? I know for me personally, I think the sleep was the big thing, but also we travel, and when I would take this room harmonizer, because hotels have some of the worst EMFs, don't they? Because of the Wi-Fi in every room, but I know I could tell a difference in my sleep.
You should probably use 3 of the room harmonizers.
At a hotel room?
Yeah, because they've gotten so bad. Like, I'm in a hotel, and there's now a router. I took a picture on my phone. There's a router outside everybody's door all the way down the hall. And then it's even worse. Usually they put them in the rooms underneath of the desk. So if it's in your room underneath of a desk, that's close by. But if it's on the other side of the wall where your head is, you could be sleeping like a couple of feet from a router and not know it. A lot of these hotels have cell towers on the roof. There's massive amount of electronic everything in there. So the hotels have gotten kind of bad. 2 is a better idea. I do 3 because I just don't want to mess around.
Okay, now tell that website again, because I think we can put that up, and you can write this down if you'd like to read more information.
Yeah, this is the neutral website that can show the average person. Now, if you Google it now or research or look it up on the internet, of course they're going to try to discredit it.
Right.
They're discrediting over 4,000 studies. I don't know how you do that. But this is as neutral a place as it gets, but it's bioinitiative.org/conclusions.
What's your opinion on why they're discrediting it? You can dive into that as much as you want or steer clear of it, but why would they?
Let's just talk about why everything is being discredited, including the early protocols for COVID that are being discredited, and we're being censored for talking with amazing doctors about that.
Exactly, and the thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying not to say this stuff is bad, you shouldn't use it. nobody's going to get rid of cell phones. These are awesome. I love my cell phone. I love my technology. I love watching a movie and saying, how old's this actor? And, looking it up. Like, you can just do so much with technology. Yeah.
You look up, oh yeah, they were born so-and-so.
So I just want to make a strong point. Like, I just wanted to solve it. My ultimate goal would be to try to get with one day a company. We can fix entire cell towers, which I have. The one that was less than a block from where I bought a house on purpose. We can remediate, anything. I remediated an entire block downtown San Diego that had cell phones on the roof, that had retail shops all around.
But why are they censoring this information?
What do they have to
I don't
gain?
know. I mean, I just can.
They just don't want people to know, maybe?
I think they're afraid that if you know that maybe you won't want to buy this stuff, right? And then their bottom line is going to get hurt. And I'm not telling people their bottom line needs to be hurt. Go get a cell phone, go get a router, get the strongest one you can. Just remediate it.
Right.
You noticed outside of Daystar, there's 5G that was going up. It's so interesting because when I pull in and out, all these trucks were there one day, and I could see them climbing that tower. So the guy was standing there, and I said, hey, what are y'all doing? And he said, oh, we're just working over here. And I said, are you putting in 5G? And he's like, we can't talk about that. And it was so weird. I'm like, why? If that's what you're doing, it's almost like they wanted to keep it a secret.
Yeah, because there's a major movement against 5G. But I'm going to tell you a story about myself. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. My wife and I lived in a place. One night, we woke up the next morning, we didn't sleep good, almost like you were saying. We slept horrible, we didn't feel good, we felt like we had the flu, but we didn't. And we were holistic practitioners, and we had our stuff on the house, so we're like, what is wrong with us? Well, the neighbor pointed out there's a little barrel put up on the telephone pole. 10 yards from our living room and bedroom window, I live from a 5G tower, okay? So I had to put more than the average home harmonizer on my unit, okay? When I did that, it was amazing. It felt amazing. We slept great. It tested great. We lived there on purpose another 3+ years before moving to South Carolina in a month-to-month lease where we could have dropped at any time because we trust our products. And we're sensitive. I'm very sensitive when I go to a place that's a mess. Like, I either feel like somebody's standing on my chest or somebody's squashing my head. I wasn't sensitive until I remediated everything.
Right.
So when you live in a great environment all the time, it's almost like if you smoke cigarettes. You take a puff, you don't cough. But I'm not a smoker, so if I go take a puff of a cigarette, I'm probably gonna cough, right? Your body builds up the tolerances because it's like trying to fight off this toxic stuff. My life doesn't have that anymore. My body's not used to it. So I walk into a place with bad EMFs that, I don't have enough product for or whatever. And it's like, ooh, I can notice now.
I'm sure you probably, when you started this, had no idea how God was gonna open it up. Because, from talking to you and being around you, I can see your heart is just to try to help human beings to be healthy.
Yeah, I always say this company's here by accident. Maybe it's not an accident for God, but it's an accident for me. Like, I was just trying to fix stuff for my clients, really, and my wife and I. And so I got real busy. I was a practitioner. I started fixing houses. I got so many testimonials, and people were like, I got so busy doing that, I had to shut down my practice. Then I had to say, hey, Raquel, my wife, can you shut down your practice too? Because I need help. And then all of a sudden, I'm too busy. I need to train somebody to help me. And now I couldn't train as many people, so I had to find somebody to train the other people. And so we just been growing like reactionary almost by accident, but it's been an amazing blessing. Yeah.
Well, Rebecca, I think she has one more question for you. Rebecca, this is your last question,
Okay, so
darling.
what I was going to say about the 5G thing is one of the reasons why I think they kind of censor the information is because they need these bigger and bigger networks to run the technology at the level that we're at these days. And they only have more and more plans for technology in the future. But if you look at 5G and advertising, it's always just marketed as this exciting thing that you're going to be able to have stronger phone speed and all this kind of stuff. And there's never mentioned any kind of negativity surrounding it. I had no idea until like a year ago. I just thought, oh, this is exciting, greater, stronger network. But they actually produced, I saw this on Robert Kennedy before he actually got kicked off of Instagram. He actually published a study about 5G that said they were seeing it actually harmed trees. Like, it was that powerful. So it's very serious. We need to take it really seriously. But for the parents who are watching, one of the things I was talking to Shri about when she remediated her home was the effects of Wi-Fi on children, and that when children go to school, they're under a huge amount of Wi-Fi, a lot of EMF. So what can parents do to protect their kids? Really,
Really important and great question. So first of all, get a personal device. You can have a wristband.
Like this. We got one for Israel and for Ariel when they go to school. It's just a little band that you wear, and they can wear that to school, right?
Absolutely. It's important. Anytime I'm not home, I'm always, my 21-month-old has a band on. We put it on our ankle usually. You can also, we have cards for, if you want to stick something in your pocket.
Yeah, show that. So a lot of the guys carry this little card. Yeah.
Personal card.
I need one of those.
So this is just convenient for usually guys because we always have pockets. My wife's wearing yoga pants or a dress, and it's not as convenient.
Yeah.
But so first of all, definitely do that. This is not 100% because remediating a person is not perfect. It's 90-some% perfect, but this is something that when we have reps in the area, right now we fix schools and churches, and if they ever let me, fire departments and police departments for free. Like, I'll pay for the products to fix your school if you can talk to administrators into letting us.
Wow.
But I need a rep there because it's kind of a fancier, harder thing to do. The house is real easy, but a school is a little more technical. So if we have a rep there, we fix schools for free.
What about cars, like a regular car versus a Tesla?
Car.
Should those be remediated?
Yeah, all cars. So,
all cars.
Okay.
Wow.
So the microwave oven shakes and vibrates molecules. That's the subatomic chaos that these do. The Wi-Fi router has the exact same frequency as your microwave oven. So every Wi-Fi device you use, you're using a microwave oven with no walls on it. Okay, that's what we're doing. So you understand the shaking.
And you're definitely doing that in the car with your phone.
Yeah. What happens to metal when you put it in a microwave oven?
Blows up.
You're not supposed to do it, right?
Right.
Because it's going to have frictions and sparks and who knows what. So when you're in a metal car, metal amplifies the negative effects, the subatomic chaos of EMFs. So when you're in a metal car or a plane or a metal, like a house with a metal roof or just around a lot of metal, the metal is going to make it much worse. And what do we sleep on? Mattresses that have metal springs.
Wow.
So it's really important to remediate your bed.
So
with
how do you
better seats.
remediate the vehicles? What do you do to remediate those?
There's a car harmonizer. You plug it in your cigarette lighter, and then that's it.
There it is right there. There's a picture of it. And all of these products, are there any that you're developing that will be coming out? I know, what is it, the large box, what's it called again?
Home Harmonizer.
The Home Harmonizer, that's what we put on our home. That's really a big deal and would make a huge difference, wouldn't it, for people?
Yeah, the first thing you should do is a home harmonizer.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And then a personal device and a cell phone device. That's usually the big, really most important three if you can.
All right.
So.
Well, thank you so much for bringing this information to our audience today. And I'm going to be doing some shows with Cory today, and so we'll have some more information on Joni Table Talk. Continue to pray for my sweetheart.
Yes,
at least he is in a home that has been remediated, that's good. He can heal faster. But thank you so much for watching. Jonathan, would you just pray us off the air right now?
God, we thank you so much for all of our partners, all of our viewers, everybody who's called in today, Lord. We just pray for healing, for protection, for guidance, for wisdom, for all these requests that have come in, Lord. We bring them to your throne and ask for you to act on these people's behalf. We thank you, Father, for giving us the tools we need to remediate. We just thank you so much for blessing us with Cory and having him here. Lord, we just pray the special blessing over him and all that they do to continue to help the people of America and the world. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you